My name is Emily Carter. I'm 29 years old, and the night my own mother sold my future, I didn't cry. I smiled, because she had no idea that I had already lost everything, and I had nothing left to lose. That night still plays in my head, like a slow, cruel movie I can't turn off. We were all sitting at the dinner table. My brother Jake was celebrating his latest business deal. Of course he was. He was always the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. My mother raised her glass. Her eyes were shining with pride, but not for me. "Jake has always been the strongest one," she said, her voice soft, almost loving. Then she looked at me and smiled. Not a warm smile, not a kind one. A decision had already been made. "Emily," she said. The room went quiet. Every eye turned toward me. "We've made a decision." My heart paused, just for a second, just enough to feel it break. "We've invested your trust fund into Jake's business." Silence. Thick, heavy, suffocating. Those funds weren't just money. They were my future, my independence, my escape. And just like that, they were gone. "For the family, Emily," my mother added gently. "You understand, right?" I looked into her eyes, and for the first time in my life, I understood everything. This was never a family. It was a transaction. Jake laughed, leaning back in his chair. "Relax," he said. "I'll double it." I didn't respond, because he didn't get it. It was never about the money. It was about the betrayal. That night, I didn't argue. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I simply stood up, walked to my room, and locked the door behind me. And then, I broke. Not the kind of crying you see in movies. No, this was quieter, heavier, the kind that feels like something inside you is collapsing, piece by piece, until there's nothing left. But then, something changed. I looked up at the mirror. My eyes were red. My face was hollow. But deep inside, something new was forming. Not sadness, not fear. Something colder, something sharper. Control. "Okay," I whispered to myself. "If this is a game," my reflection stared back at me. "Then I'm playing too." The next morning, I was gone. No goodbye, no explanation, no warning. Just gone. What did I have? One suitcase, a few clothes, and one secret. A secret that was about to change everything. 5 years earlier, right before my father died, he gave me something. A USB drive. At the time, I didn't think much of it. But now, it was the only thing that mattered. I sat in a cheap apartment, plugged it into my laptop, and held my breath. "Let's see what you left me, Dad." The screen lit up. Folders, documents, contracts, hidden accounts, and one video file. I clicked play. My father appeared on screen. He looked weaker than I remembered, but his eyes were serious. "Emily, if you're watching this," he said slowly, "then it means you need to know the truth." I froze. "Your mother and Jake," he paused, "they're not who you think they are." My heart started racing. "They slowly took over my company," he continued, "and pushed me out." "No," I whispered. "And they'll do the same to you." My hands started shaking. "But I documented everything." His voice grew stronger. "Every illegal deal, every hidden account." My eyes widened. "And Emily," he leaned closer to the camera, "this is yours now." The video ended. Silence. But this time, I wasn't powerless. I had the truth. And the truth is dangerous. I leaned back slowly, took a deep breath. "So this is the game." I closed the laptop and smiled. Perfect. Over the next few weeks, I did something no one expected. I disappeared. New city, new name, new life. But one thing stayed the same. my purpose, revenge. I studied every document, every transaction, every secret they tried to bury. I learned everything, because this wasn't just personal anymore. This was war. Years passed, and every single day, I became stronger, smarter, colder. I built connections, learned how power really works, and most importantly, I learned patience, because real revenge isn't rushed, it's built. 5 years later, I came back. Same city, same streets, same people. But I wasn't the same Emily, not the girl they ignored, not the girl they used. I was something else now, something dangerous, something they would never see coming. I stood across the street, staring at the building that used to belong to my father. Now, they thought it was theirs. I smiled. Not anymore. I pulled out my phone, dialed a number. A voice answered. Are you ready? I closed my eyes. All the pain, all the betrayal, all the silence came rushing back. Then I opened them, cold, focused, unstoppable. I was born ready. The first rule of revenge: you don't attack, you observe. For 5 years, I stayed invisible, not because I was weak, but because I was preparing. The moment I stepped back into that city, I wasn't Emily Carter anymore. Not the version they remembered, not the girl they betrayed. I was the consequence. I didn't go to their house, I didn't call, I didn't announce my return. Instead, I went straight to their company. The building still stood tall. Glass walls, polished floors, expensive lies. My father built it from nothing, and they stole it piece by piece. I walked inside like I belonged there, because I did. Can I help you? The receptionist asked. She smiled politely. Didn't recognize me. Good. I have a meeting, I said calmly. She checked the system. There was no meeting. Of course there wasn't. But I wasn't there for permission. I was there to remind them who they forgot. I walked past her, straight to the elevators. Ma'am, you can't. Too late. Top floor, executive level. The doors opened. And just like that, I was back where everything began. Same hallway, same offices, same people. Different Emily. I saw Jake first, laughing, confident, untouchable. That used to make me feel small. Now, it made me curious. How long would that smile last? I didn't approach him. Not yet. Instead, I walked into the conference room, sat down, and waited. Exactly 3 minutes later, the door opened. My mother walked in. She froze. Her eyes locked on mine. And for the first time in my life, I saw it. Fear. Emily? Her voice barely came out. I smiled. Hi, Mom. Jake rushed in behind her, confused, annoyed. Then he saw me, and everything changed. You've got some nerve showing up here, he snapped. Still arrogant, still blind. Good. I leaned back in my chair, relaxed, in control. I just came to see my investment, I said. Silence. What are you talking about? Jake said. I slid a folder across the table. Open it. He hesitated, then grabbed it, flipped it open. His face changed. Color drained. Confidence cracked. What is this? He whispered. Ownership documents, I said softly. My mother stepped forward, hands shaking. That's not possible. Oh, it is, I cut in. I leaned forward, locked eyes with her. You transferred my trust fund. I paused. So I transferred your company. Jake slammed the table. This is fake. I smiled. Check the signatures. He did. And that's when it hit him. The documents were real, legal, binding. Because while they were celebrating, I was rebuilding. While they were spending, I was investing. While they forgot me, I was studying them. Every weakness, every secret, every illegal move. I used Dad's files, I said quietly. My mother's face went pale. You, what? Oh, You didn't think he left me nothing, did you? Jake stepped back, panic rising. You don't have proof. I laughed. Proof? I pulled out my phone, pressed play. My father's voice filled the room. Every illegal deal, hidden accounts, fraud. Jake's breathing got heavier. My mother grabbed the chair for support. You wouldn't, she whispered. I stood up slowly, walked toward her. I already did. Silence. Heavy. Crushing. You had 5 years, I said. 5 years to fix what you did. I stepped closer. But you didn't. Jake tried one last time. What do you want? That question was my favorite. I tilted my head slightly. What do I want? I looked around the room, at the walls they thought they owned, at the power they thought was theirs, then back at them. I want balance. Confusion. What does that even mean? Jake snapped. I smiled, cold, precise. It means, I paused, let it sink in. You lose everything. My mother gasped. No, Emily, please. Don't. One word, sharp, final. You didn't ask me when you took my future. I picked up the folder, closed it. So I'm not asking you now. I turned toward the door. By the end of this week, I stopped, looked over my shoulder. You're both out. And then I walked away. Behind me, their world was collapsing. But for me, this was just the beginning. Because revenge isn't about one moment. It's about making them feel everything you felt. Slowly, painfully, completely. And I wasn't done yet. Not even close. Revenge isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It doesn't beg for attention. Real revenge is quiet, precise, and inevitable. By the time I left that office, their fate was already sealed. But I didn't rush it, because destruction is more powerful when it's slow. The first thing I did, I said nothing. No public accusations, no drama, no warnings, just silence. And silence terrifies guilty people. Within 24 hours, everything started to crack. Their biggest investor pulled out. No explanation, no second chances. Then another one followed, and another. Phone calls went unanswered, meetings got canceled, emails ignored. Jake panicked. He tried to fix it, tried to lie his way out, tried to control something, anything. But this time, he wasn't in control. I was. Because while they were reacting, I was 3 steps ahead. I leaked nothing. Not yet. Instead, I let their own actions expose them. The hidden accounts? Flagged. The illegal transfers? Frozen. The contracts they thought were buried? Suddenly, visible. And then, the investigation began. Not because I reported them, because I made sure someone else would. That's the difference between revenge and strategy. My mother called me, over and over again. I didn't answer. Not until the 3rd day. Her voice was shaking. Emily, please. Funny, that word again. Please. The same word she never used when she took everything from me. I think you're confused, I said calmly. You made your choice 5 years ago. We can fix this, she said desperately. No, I replied. You could have fixed it. Silence. Then she broke. I'm your mother. I closed my eyes for a moment. That word used to mean something. Now, it meant nothing. No, I said quietly. You were my mother. And I hung up. By the end of the week, it was over. The company? Gone. Assets frozen. Accounts seized. Reputation? Destroyed. Jake? He tried to run, but you can't outrun truth, especially when it's documented. He lost everything: the money, the power, the image he built on lies. And my mother? She lost something worse: control. For the first time in her life, she couldn't manipulate the outcome. She couldn't rewrite the story. Because this time, she wasn't the one holding the pen. I was. A week later, I went back. Not for revenge, for closure. The building was empty, quiet, cold, just like I used to feel. I walked through the halls slowly, each step echoing memories, pain, silence, neglect. And then I reached the office, my father's office. I opened the door, and for a moment, everything stood still. This was where it started, and now, this was where it ended. I sat down in his chair, ran my fingers across the desk. "You were right," I whispered. "They were never family." I took a deep breath, but then something unexpected happened. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel satisfaction. I didn't even feel victory. I felt peace. Because revenge was never the goal. Freedom was. And I finally had it. I stood up, took one last look around, and walked away. Not as the girl they betrayed, but as the woman they created.